Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel once again. So today, this particular video is actually different from rest of the videos I have been doing on my channel. Today, I have a very special guest for my podcast, for my first ACCA podcast. Before I actually introduce him, let me tell you, he is the only reason I scored 87 in my marks, 87 in my AFM subject. But wait, I am not trying to sell his classes or anything. It's just that when you understand things with a great tutor, things become much easier. So I welcome Mr. Sarvesh, who is a great AFM and FM tutor, and he dedicates his time for the financial education. So thank you so much for coming on my channel. It's actually a great thing that I don't have great number of viewers and you still agreed to do my podcast. Over to you.
First of all, Ruchi, I must congratulate you for doing so wonderfully in your ACCA exams, but more so because of this gesture of starting a YouTube channel. Because what really touched me was, your sense of giving it back, to your fellow colleagues or to the future ACCA students. And that gesture really touched me. Because it needs to be towards the betterment of everyone, and not everyone thinks this way. So thank you so much for inviting me and making me a part of your journey, your YouTube journey.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And yeah.
So basically, this particular podcast will be divided into 3 parts. First, who haven't chosen yet AFM their subject. Secondly, who have chosen but still thinking whether to give it in this attempt or next attempt. And thirdly, who have actually failed, for and appearing for their second attempt. So let's officially begin this podcast. First question is to you is, what are the 3 things according to you that should be kept in mind while you select the AFM subject? Because as a student, it was very helpful for me when I entered into finance world or corporate world. I used to understand things in much better manner. So what according to you should be 3 things?
Yes, let me start off with giving a little bit of my background. I've been teaching this subject for the last, I can say 12 years. And my teaching experience goes from those days when I cleared my graduation. I cleared my 3rd year BCom, and I started teaching the 11th and the 12th grade students, the accountancy subjects. So it's quite a number of years I have been into teaching. And, if you ask my vision and mission, it's about promoting financial literacy, because over my so many years of experience, I have sensed that students and also public at large, they really and desperately need good quality financial education. No matter what stream you choose, even if you're a doctor, an engineer, or lawyer, you need to have the basic understanding of how to set your finances right. And hence, that was also the reason why I chose financial management, okay, as the subject of my choice of teaching. To answer your specific question, what are those 3 things to be kept in mind before you choose AFM? Well, I would say there are quite a number of things, but I will handle it from a bird's viewpoint. Like I'll have a macro view about it. The first and the foremost, and which is also the most challenging, is you need to understand that AFM is you need to have a high level understanding. It's a high level paper. So what do I mean by high level paper? Only understanding of the concepts, okay, or only mugging up stuff from the books will not really help you to to get over this. It's all about mindset. You need to develop your analytical mindset. You need to have a liking for number crunching. Okay, so that is one thing. And not only number crunching, you should be really willing to go beyond the numbers and understand what they really mean. Now, if you compare this with the other optionals, like say, the ATX, the taxation paper, or maybe the AAA. Now, when it comes to AAA and ATX, you have certain well-defined rules and standards, right? It's law. Basically, it's law. You need to know IFRS. You need to know the tax code. Honestly, a lot of mugging business happens there. Okay, mugging up business happens. You may compromise on logic, because once you know the provision, you can simply, you just have to apply it. You have to just produce it in your paper. AFM is a different ball game, right? AFM is like, even you must be knowing lot many times I tell my students, if your logic is clear, you can pass this paper. Or if you carry your common sense in the exam hall, you can still pass this paper. Okay, so yeah, the first thing you need to know that this is a very, very high level subject. You have to get into the shoes of a CFO or the finance director. You are no longer an accounts executive or an accounts associate. You have to visualize yourself that you are you are handling the finances of the entire company, and then produce your answers. Anything else would be extremely amateur. This is not an amateur paper, this is a pro paper. So that's the first major shift in the mindset that you should be willing to do before you opt for AFM. Okay. The second, as to why should one choose AFM, because it's same across the globe. Now, what do I mean by same across the globe? Let us say, I'll give, allow me to be little technical here. Like, say, for example, you want to calculate what is the NPV of a project, or you want to calculate what is, your favorite topic, risk management, what is the total hedging loss. So these things won't change when you move on to US, or when you move on to Europe, or when you move on to Australia. The basic fundamentals always remain the same. The calculation part or the discussive elements always remain the same. So if you join the investment banking industry, or the equity research, or the risk advisory industry, you don't have to learn anything new if you shift from if you migrate from, say, India to Dubai, or from Dubai to US. But if you opt for ATX, or if you opt for, let us say, AAA, maybe you'll have to relearn a few things when you migrate from one job to another, or one place to another, one country to another. So I believe it's one of the biggest advantages you have when you learn a subject like a comprehensive subject like AFM, which I believe no other subject has. It's all comprehensive. It has a global perspective, and hence I encourage my students to, you can pick up any the second optional can be anything else, but the first optional has to be AFM. That is what, because you get to learn so many things. Okay, you get to learn so many things. I'm not saying mugging up so many things. You get to really understand how the business works, how to raise capital. Now, one who is able to raise capital is the is the Lord, right? That businesses will treat you like a king or a queen if you're able to raise funds, and that is what the knowledge of AFM gives you. So I'm giving a very high level answers. I'm not giving academic answers yet, because you asked me a question that why should one choose AFM. So naturally, I need to give you a very, very broad perspective, a very, very professional perspective. That could be the second reason. The third reason I believe is, not everyone. Now this could be little pessimistic, but I believe there is something positive in it. Like, even if someone is not able to crack the AFM or the ACCA exams, or not able to become ACCA, but still the knowledge of AFM can stay with you. Like, if you choose to become an entrepreneur, you don't want to become an ACCA, but you want to start something of your own. Whatever you have learned or studied in AFM will help you there as well. That's a guarantee. Okay, it will also help in your personal finance decisions. Like, the best example I can give you, and Ruchi can relate to that, is the concept of opportunity cost. Okay, everyone, no matter what your profession is, no matter what you do in life, you should always have a close watch on the opportunity costs, because if you ignore opportunity costs, your financial decisions can go haywire. Okay, whether you're running a business, whether you're an ACCA, whether you're managing your own money, if you don't keep a close eye on the opportunity cost principles, your business and your personal finance can go absolutely haywire. Okay, so that's the third reason, that even if you don't become an ACCA, this knowledge will help you throughout your life. That's a guarantee from my end. If you really learn the course well, okay, if you learn the subject well, this knowledge is there to stay with you no matter what you do. So, Ruchi, I hope this helps. These are the three, three answers or three reasons why one should learn AFM.
Exactly. Even I remember on you telling first date that do not think of like, a executive, think of a CEO and a CFO of a company and make decisions wisely. So I still remember your first lecture now.
And one more, if you allow me to add one more thing,
Of course.
we get to learn something called risk management.
Yeah.
I'm sure, not hope, I'm sure you remember, right?
Of
What is
course
risk
I
management?
remember.
Yeah, so risk, see, I believe risk management is the future. Considering the trauma of this pandemic that we have recently experienced, stakeholders across the world have realized that creating value is not enough, right? Creating shareholder value is not enough. You need to also protect it. If you're not able to protect it, something like Corona can come and simply wipe out everything. Okay. So this is where risk management comes in. If, and let me tell you, there is a huge shortage of risk managers in this world. There is a great demand, but there is a huge shortage. So if you follow the blue ocean strategy, the blue ocean strategy is where the fisherman doesn't go there because it's too deep, but most of the fish actually happen to go to that part of the ocean. So if you are the first fisherman to go there, you'll be able to enjoy a maximum amount of fish, right? So this blue ocean strategy will really work out if you learn AFM. If you are good at risk concepts, if you are good at understanding the derivatives market, the forwards, futures, swaps, if you're really good at these concepts, I can tell you that next 20-25 years are yours. Okay, you will be welcomed everywhere in all financial jobs anywhere across the world. So that could be the fourth reason why you should learn AFM. So I've given you one bonus reason.
Exactly. That is like a wise tip that, everyone should think before you actually choose. And you should be actually thankful that you did AFM. You should actually flex it in front of everyone. So my
True, true.
second question is like, if you shift from, skill level to the professional level, there's a huge change that you actually witnessed, not even in terms of new topics, but it became detailed version of everything that you study in AFM, FM. So even if I have not done FM a long back, what would you suggest that how should one prepare and what are the common?
Yeah, I'll yes, yes. See, it's very simple. You don't need to know anything beyond time value of money, to be very honest. Okay, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm really serious here. Okay, if you really understand the time value of money concept from FM, you don't need to know working capital management. You don't need to know Miller Modigliani theories and all that stuff. Okay, if you really have understood what is time value of money, number one, if you have really understood what is risk, okay, if you have really understood what is cost of capital and how cost of capital influence shareholders value, if you have understood it, that understanding is enough. You don't need to really carry the entire FM syllabus in your head before you move on to AFM. Okay, and that is where I tell my students, please don't mug up concepts. When you are studying FM, if you have understood these 3-4 basic concepts, I think you are good to go. You are good to go to the AFM. You don't have to understand, remember everything from FM. It's okay if there is a gap of 1 year, 1.5 years, perfectly okay. But if you have understood what TVM is, what opportunity cost is, okay, what discounting is, what compounding is, what is present value, what is future value, and I believe these are the basics. This is something everyone should know. Okay, whether you are in finance or non-finance, you should know what is future value, what is present value, what is discounting rate. Okay, because these are the things that will also help you to decide your personal investment decisions, right? So you don't need to learn anything, or you don't need to remember anything beyond time value of money, beyond what is risk, what are the types of risk, what is cost of capital, and how NPV is calculated. How is NPV and IRR calculated? So if you know the calculation stuff, if you know these basic calculations and these basic concepts, you are absolutely fit to study AFM. Now, the major change that will be required is, are you able to explain the numbers? Like I'll give you a quick example, then then only you will understand, and allow me to be little technical here again. Like say, for example, everyone knows what is NPV, right? Even graduate students, they know what is an NPV. You just have to project future cash flows and discount it, and you get the NPV. If the NPV is positive, it's a good decision. It's a good investment option. If it is negative, it's bad. Okay, these are the bare minimum things we know. Now, in AFM, you will have to also say that, hey, look, this NPV depends on future cash flows. Future is always uncertain. Okay, so we can't live in a fool's paradise just by looking at a positive NPV. We can't say that this investment is great. Okay, although the numbers tell me that this is a great investment option, this is a great investment avenue, it's a positive NPV. But look, but please understand, you have figured out this number by looking at future cash flows, and these future cash flows may not materialize. This discount rate that we have assumed, it may not materialize. Something like Corona comes up, right? The banks go haywire, and then your discount rate also goes haywire. Anything can happen. And hence, we have some other tools like sensitivity analysis. Okay, so AFM students need to think beyond what is obvious. And this is one skill that will come to you only with practice. Okay, a tutor can do his best to share his insights, to give you the ideas, okay, and to explain you the concepts. But if you don't sit and if you don't really apply it on a real question, on a real life exam scenario, then those skills won't get developed. Okay, so one major thing the students should understand, that forget about FM now. Okay, forget that your FM has to be really good. No, not at all. Okay, you need to understand the basics. What is to be really good are your writing skills, your analytical skills, your skepticism skills. Okay, which we are going to, I hope we are going to talk about that later. Okay, so there are certain professional skills you need to develop. If you're able to develop them, if you're able to reproduce them in your answer sheet, okay, the examiner is happy. Okay, the examiner is not really concerned whether you know FM or not. Okay, the examiner really wants to look whether you are able to apply your communication skills well, your skepticism well. Are you able to explain your numbers? Are you able to convince the board of directors? Okay, so these are the skills that you need to know, and not the fundamentals of financial management, not the FM paper. Even if you don't crack the FM paper, you have got exemption or something like that, still you can clear AFM. A lot of my students, they have exemptions in FM, but they score 65, 70 marks in AFM. Okay, because they really apply what is required to be applied.
Oh, great. That actually answered my question in much detailed manner. And this was actually even my scenario. I had applied for AFM 1 year before I actually joined you. So it was a experienced question that I actually faced. So my third question is, when I actually started my journey, I was pursuing a second degree. That was BCom honors. Even if you have a second degree, you tend to, question yourself whether I should opt for AFM, what time actually it requires. Do I need to devote a lots of hours throughout my day? And if I am working, it becomes more difficult because you get only weekend. So what according to you is, minimum time that should be devoted in weekend or throughout the day, or what is minimum criteria, or, minimum number of hours that should be devoted to this particular subject?
Ruchi, what I will say is, it's a very good question, and this is one question I've been consistently facing from the students, and consistently my answer has been, and I'm giving this answer based on my experience. I'm not sharing anything bookish here. Okay, this is absolutely from my experience. When I was doing my chartered accountancy course, I was pursuing a few other courses as well, and what I learned, in my journey is, it's not how many hours you put in. Okay, what is important? I'll give you 2 hours. These 2 hours will be the most important in your journey. The first is regularity. Okay, if you regularly study, even for, let us say, 1 hour or maybe 2 hours. Okay, if you're studying for a P-level paper, then 2 hours is quite reasonable. But if you do it consistently and regularly, I will guarantee you it will be a good experience for you. You'll not experience failure. That's for sure. So that's the first star, being regular with your studies. And second is revision. Okay. Now this is something which most students ignore. Most students, and it's a real it's surprise for me as to what is wrong. I mean, if you revise regularly, you will experience a sudden spike in your retention. Okay, you will be able to retain concepts, you will be able to automatically apply things. It's like playing a guitar. Okay, for the first 6 months or so, if you're just strumming, it's like, what is happening? My fingers are not moving at all. But suddenly one fine day, you yourself will understand that you are able to play it quite well. Okay, it's also like learning your bicycle. If you're riding your bicycle for the first time, you're bound to fall, but slowly over a period of time, you yourself will be able to understand how to go about it. Okay, so how do I revise? That is the $1,000,000 question. So I'll give you a few pointers which will also help our audience, okay, or the students. Always, whatever you study in, let us say today I'm studying risk management. Okay, I spent a good 1.5 hours or 2 hours on risk management. Okay, done. Okay, I'm done for the day. I've studied for 2 hours. That's enough. Then on the next day, what the student should do? The student should first dedicate 20 minutes for looking back, for reviewing what he or she has done the previous day. These 20 minutes are going to help you pass the exams. And I'll tell you what the smartest of the students do. Okay, like Ruchi, Ruchi will not, I don't know whether she will share this or not. On the second day, okay, so let us say on Monday you studied for 2 hours, okay, risk management. Then on Tuesday, for the first 20 minutes, just revise, review what you have done on Monday for 20 minutes, not more. Revision doesn't happen for hours. Revision happens in minutes. Okay, so for 15-20 minutes, dedicate your time for what you have done on Monday, and you just have to review it. What is revision? It's about vision, right? It's about looking at that particular thing. You don't have to sit and solve. You just have to look at the important formulas, the important things that you have underlined, you have marked, you have noted, and hence note-taking skill is very important. So when you're spending 2 hours on studies, you also have to sit with a notebook and a pen, or maybe your spreadsheet. You have to point down the important, you have to jot down the important points, so that next day, first 20 minutes, you can just go through those points and done. Then you can study something new. Okay. Then the smartest students on Wednesday, the second day, on Wednesday, they will spend 5 minutes, only 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes, to review what they have done on Monday, and another 15-20 minutes to review what they have done on Tuesday. I can guarantee you, and this is a podcast, right? So many students would be watching this. I can guarantee you, I can boldly say this, I can guarantee you that your studies will be firmly ingrained in your brain cells. And these are not my words. Okay, I'm not a brain researcher. I'm not a neuroscientist. Neuroscientists have proved this. The memory experts have proved this. Whatever you revise within 24 hours and within 48 hours, even for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you will never ever forget it. Okay, you will never ever forget it. This is how, and these 20 minutes and 5 minutes of revision is what will help you come out with flying colors. It's not the 2 hours of study. See, everyone studies. Everyone studies. They spend 2 hours, 3 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. But what are the results? The results are how much? 45%, 50%. This is because these 45-50% students, they also revise. Those who don't revise, they don't pass. And even if they pass, it's on the border, 50-51. And then anyways, that won't happen, help them anywhere. Okay, even if they pass, that is as good as it's no fun. Okay, so if you want to pass with good marks, and probably if you want to get a rank or so, please follow this revision strategy and do it regularly for 3 months. I can vouch for it. I can personally vouch for it. and you can come back and let me know, okay, how it goes. So you know, these are the two things, the two pillars, regularity and revision, that is important. Now if you want to study now, what Ruchi asked me, how many hours, how much time? Okay, to give you a clear answer, at least study for 2 hours every day. Okay, at least if you're working, make it 1 hour. Okay, but do it every day. Consistency is the key. Number of hours is not the key. If you do it consistently, you will yourself experience your growth, your the spike in your understanding, and you will feel that you are really preparing for your exams. If you're studying once in a while for 10 hours, okay, I'll study once a week, okay, for 15 hours. Well, I don't think so that will help you. Okay, so rather than focusing on number of hours, focus on regularity and revision. These two things are enough to take you to the other side.
That's so true. Literally, I'll share my personal tip too here. I used to make a flowchart after 2 hours so that when I visit, on the second day, I have to just look at a flowchart and it actually gets filtered in your mind. Ki, yaar, ye to aata hai. So that's the major key that you shared. Okay, we'll stop here and I'll start another meeting because, okay, that was actually a very, very, very great tip that actually gave. It helps lots and lots of students ki yaar kitna time devote karna hai. So let's move on to the second question. Now that you have been teaching for a decade now, almost 12 years, as you mentioned in the introduction, you must have noticed the common mistake that students do in AFM. And you want to yell ki yaar ye common mistakes to mat karo, choti mistakes. Like, I'll tell you my experience. What I used to do, I always used to convert dollars and rupees in a wrong manner. And you actually made me understand in such a simple thing that I don't do mistakes now at all. Okay, so I know the funda now, I know the concept. So what are those common mistakes that one shouldn't do? The choti mistakes that you say.
Yeah. So yes, the mistakes can be during your preparation stage. You're preparing for the exams. There we commit a few errors, or we don't do the right things. And also, more importantly, certain mistakes that we tend to do during the exams. Okay, like your question was, how much time should we dedicate for studies every day, right? That was your previous question. I would say, worry about time in a way that you start early, right? The number one mistake most students do is they start, okay, let the results come out. Let the June results come out. And June results will come out in July, okay, towards the end of July maybe. And then the next attempt is in September. So you have, in a way, wasted 1 month, right? Well, I understand that students don't know, okay, what to study for, but you are studying for ACCA course. Even if you don't pass this paper, like I'll give you an example. Let us say I give SBR in June, and I'm awaiting the results. I'm not sure whether I'm going to pass or fail, but I'm sure that even if I fail, I have to complete this course. I have to study for AFM. I have to study for AAA. So why not start the studies earlier? The sooner the better, right? Why do you wait for SBR results? God forbids, even if you flunk, okay, then you can re-strategize. You can think of again giving SBR, or you might study for the AFM. Let us say you have started off with AFM, so you can carry both the subjects together now, because SBR would not be that heavy now. You have already studied it, yet due to some reasons you could not pass. So the efforts will not be 100% now. You'll be required only 50% efforts. So the bottom line is, don't take a break of 1 month. Okay. Don't wait for the results, and after that you'll start looking for a trainer. After that you'll start looking for resources. Please don't do that. If you want to really worry about time, don't worry about how many hours I should study every day. Worry about how sooner should I start. Okay, that's a major advantage. Okay. And the second thing, the commonest mistake that I have noticed is students ignore the resources. The ACCA website is full of resources. You have the examiner's report for every attempt. Okay, students, now again, this is something that really baffle me, that students are not even aware. Many students are not aware that there is something called CB platform. There is something that this test reach platform, this software has been a blessing for the students, right? And students don't know about it. See, ignorance is not always bliss. Okay, this kind of ignorance is unpardonable, because ACCA is trying to do its best to help you prepare for the exams. And if you say, no, I have not used the CB platform, I'm not aware of it, okay, then this is unpardonable. Okay, so, but unfortunately this is happening. So the second major mistake is, please access your website, please access my ACCA frequently, read the examiner's reports, practice on the test reach platform, the CB software. Okay, if you avoid this, and if you're simply reading books, if you're reading different publications, if you're just running after concepts, but if you are not able to apply these resources, if you're not able to, because these resources guide you how to attempt the exam. See, there are two things. One is studying for the exams, and one is actually doing your exams. Okay, if you have studied for your exams, I have all the knowledge of AFM, but I don't know how to use the CB platform. I'm uncomfortable with the spreadsheet functionalities. Then how will you pass? Okay, that is the question mark. So please do not ignore the ACCA resources. Okay, you need to you need to use them as often as possible. Now the third mistake is what students do during the exams. Okay, and that is I won't say it's a conscious mistake, but students don't keep a watch on the time that they are spending on reading the questions. You have 3 hours, right? You have 180 minutes. So roughly around, I would say, to be conservative, 2 minutes per mark. If you want to score 1 mark, you have to dedicate 2 minutes. Be absolutely strict with this. Okay, you have to be really ruthless here. I understand it's very painful to know the answer, but you have to rush it just because the time is getting over. It's very, very painful for the student, because you know the concepts, but you're not able to do it in time. So please honor time during your exams. And one golden rule, let me share with you, that 2 average answers will always fetch you more marks than 1 perfect answer. Okay, I'll repeat it. 2 average answers. What students do, they sit with one question. They really fall in love with it. Okay, they really like that concept. They go on writing whatever they know about it. They give examples and this and that. Well, you are creating a monument there, but those monuments will not help you pass the exam. Okay, so that's why I tell my students, be average with your answers. Don't worry, don't seek perfection here. Be average, but complete your paper. If you complete your paper, your chances of passing AFM anyways, it's going to go to 80-90% anyways. Okay, without any effort, you have completed the paper. It's a big check, tick mark. Okay, it's a big tick mark that yes, there is a high chance that you are going to pass now. Okay, so 2 average answers will always fetch you more marks than 1 perfect answer. Remember that golden rule. Unfortunately, students do not follow this. They pursue one question to its very end. Okay, sometimes they get stuck with some calculation. They say, no, I've studied this, I should know this, and they waste 15-20 minutes, half an hour. Okay, so this approach won't help. Okay, so you need to know when to let go of a question, that okay, I'm not able to go beyond this, let me move on to the next question. So next question, moving on. That's the key to pass this paper. Okay, so yeah, I think these are the key things, the key mistakes I've observed for the last 10-12 years, and I want my students to not do them, to be mindful about them.
Exactly. And I believe this is where, the role of great tutor plays. He actually tells you, yeah, ye mistakes mat karo. These are the mistakes that I have been experiencing with my students. So if you do self-study, it's okay, you do it, but you need guidance. I believe this is the only thing that I have personally experienced in my rest of 12 papers that I have given.
Yeah. You know how I start my session? I don't know whether you remember. I start off my session. The first lecture is never about any concept.
Yeah.
Okay. I introduce the syllabus.
Yeah.
I talk about these things that I'm talking right now. You know what the shift in the mindset that you require. And if you remember, on the day one itself, I I throw the most difficult question from the exam kit right in front of the student, if you remember. Okay. And I teach the reading skills, how to skim through the question, how to scan through the question, how to read the requirement, how to understand the difference between discuss, explain, critically evaluate. Okay. So these are the verbs that you should know. I also demonstrate to the students the speed at which you should read the question.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm sure you remember that.
I remember.
Like I time it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, यहाँ पे 2 minute गया, you know, something like that. यहाँ पे here I've spent 12 minutes. I should have spent 9 minutes. So a lot of focus on time has to be there when it comes to your exams, the main exams. Okay, you have to be very, very mindful about the limited time that you have, and that is what I demonstrate in the very first lecture.
Yeah. Actually, I'll be very honest here. When you demonstrated, as a student, you think like, why is he doing on the very first day? Why is taking too long to start the topic? But as you move forward, you actually understand why he did it, and it plays great role. So there was a huge importance that you played on very first day of your lecture. Now, moving on to the next question. As a tutor or as a student, I have noticed a substantial change in how ACCA exams are appearing, especially the professional. And earlier there used to be a few direct questions, then they moved to the practical scenarios. Now they have completely changed the pattern of 20 professional marks. So what, according to you, has it made it more difficult, more challenging, or a bit easier for students to actually, score these marks?
Well, Ruchi, to be very honest with you, nothing has changed because it was anyways expected that the students demonstrate these skills. The only thing that has changed is the marks. Please understand, the only thing that has changed are the marks, and that is what has created all this there's so much of noise that, okay, major change in AFM. Well, in a way, it's a major change because 4 marks and 20 marks. Yes, major change. But principally, if you remember the way I used to teach, I used to explain all these points that you have to be skeptical. You have to, when you read the case study, there will be some pointers where you know that this is utter nonsense. The directors are not going in the right direction, and you have to point it out in your answer. Yes, there were no separate marks dedicated to that. Okay, 4 marks. Okay, 4 marks were dedicated, which are meager, right? Only 4 marks. But now there are 20 marks, and that's the major change. Okay, so yes, in for students who ignored this advice, for them it is going to be difficult. Okay, those who were focused only on analysis and evaluation, calculation karo ho gaya. Okay, that approach, the students with that approach are going to face trouble. But the students who were already focused on the format of the report, you remember how much I discussed on the format. Okay, you need to have good introduction, you need to present the flow of your report has to be very logical, very persuasive. You have to have a proper conclusion. Okay, you also need to challenge the assumptions. There would be certain assumptions, you need to challenge them. So now you have 20 marks dedicated to that. That's the only, because students anyways were not budging at all for 4 marks. They used to ignore ki 4 marks hai, chalo chhod do. Okay, but no, now ACCS has made that point very serious by enhancing the marks. From 4 marks, they have taken it to 20, which means now your passing will be difficult if you ignore this requirement. If you don't demonstrate your professional skepticism, if you don't demonstrate your analysis, evaluation skills, if you don't demonstrate your communication skills, then 20 marks can make a difference. You might just hang around at 45. You might not cross the 50 barrier. So initially it was like, yes, by ignoring this stuff, you can still score 51. You can still pass by ignoring all these things, but now you won't be able to pass. So principally nothing has changed. The ACCA was always clear about developing these skills in your and demonstrating these skills in your answer. But now you have to work towards them, work towards fetching 20 marks. That's so in a way it's a major change. In a way there is no major change.
Okay, that was actually a great insight. I wasn't expecting this, but yeah. So this is actually a good thing for me too, because if you explain things and I am good at explaining what I believe, so it is a great advantage to me as I will be appearing for AAA in September. So this is a change that I will experience myself. So I believe this is a
yeah.
yeah.
If I can say something here, there will be one major change. The way the students will be now forced to approach exams. I know students who only read answers.
Yeah.
They read the exam kit question and they read answers. Now that was okay when you had only 4 professional marks.
But now
it will be absolute disaster, because unless you sit, you write, you practice writing, you practice demonstrating these skills, you won't pass. So by enhancing the professional skills marks from 4 to 20, ACCA has ensured that students just don't pass only by rote learning or only by reading the answers and doing some stuff in the exams. No, that won't happen now. You have to really sit and practice report writing. That is the major change.
You need to apply.
Otherwise, because principally, I don't think so. ACC always expected you to demonstrate these skills. They never said that you don't. It's for the first time this has come. No, it's not for the first time these skills have come into picture. They were always there. But now you can't bypass them. You can't bypass them. You will have to sit and practice report writing skills.
Exactly.
That's a major change. Yeah, so in that way, it's a major change.
A warning for students who are actually appearing in future.
Yeah, because see, that maintains the sanctity of the profession.
Yeah.
That maintains the standards of the profession. And that is good in a way.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move on to the second last question of today. Actually, the last 10 days of exams are very crucial. And we, as a student, get very confused. Yeah, kya kare? Should we revise? Should we do new concepts? Should we just do mock papers? Or should I go through the examiner's report? So there's a confusion ki, what should I do in the last 10 days? So what should be the, ideal, not ideal strategy, but yeah, a kind of strategy that you should follow that, yes, I am at the edge of the, month. Now I have to do this.
Yeah. So see, last 10 days should be dedicated towards polishing what you have already done. I believe there is no point in learning new concepts. Okay. There is no point in talking to other students and asking them, what have you done? What have you done? How much have you done? Okay. Please don't do that. Switch off yourself from the rest of the world for these 10 days. What you can actually do, read at least 10 technical articles, the first 10. Now, to be specific about AFM, I can say you can read articles on the Islamic finance products like Sukuk bonds and, Marhaba and all that stuff. Okay, read about interest rate derivatives. There is a great article written on interest rate derivatives with an example. Now, why should one read technical articles? Because the concept that you will find in the technical article is very important for the exam, number one. And the way it has been written is in a language which is comparatively non-technical, vis-a-vis what you find in your books, in your Kaplan BPP books. Okay, so the goal or the objective of technical article is to drive across a point in a very simple language, in the student's language, with an example, with lots of examples. Okay, so technical articles are must. In fact, ACCA has very openly and publicly announced that some of the questions will be directly picked up from the technical articles. Now, what more do you want? When ACC itself is very clear about it, that read the technical articles. We are going to pick up some things straight from the technical articles. At least the first 10, if you read all, fantastic. Okay, but at least the first 10 or 12 technical articles you need to go through. Okay, that you can think of doing the last 10 days. Then something about mock papers. Now, maybe what I say is against the trend. Okay, some of the people may raise their eyebrows. What is he saying? But let me be very honest with my opinion. Don't be too much obsessed with mock papers. Okay, one mock paper, in my opinion, is fine, and that is what even I had done. Okay, when I was doing the CA exams, or even when I was giving ACCA papers, I did not go beyond one mock paper. At the most, you can think of two, if that gives you psychological, satisfaction that you have done two. Now, why am I discouraging students for not moving too much towards that direction? Mock papers. I want to solve mock papers. Why not? Because either it will make you overconfident or it will make you underconfident. Okay. Very rarely I have seen students making the right use of mock papers. You're expected to, but because considering your age, your maturity levels, I can understand that students are not able to understand why are we doing mock papers. So let me tell you one principle. Okay, mock papers are there just to check whether you can sit at one place for 3 hours and complete the paper. Are you able to focus? Are you able to complete the paper? Practice paper completion skills. Do not take your marks seriously. The mock paper marks I'm talking about. Do not take your mock paper marks seriously. You might score 80. You might score 30. Doesn't matter. Don't inflate your confidence or deflate your confidence based on that. So my approach personally always has been, I will solve mock papers just to check whether I can read the questions fast, whether I can complete the paper, whether I can use all my functionalities properly, whether I can use all the spreadsheet functions properly, whether I can produce a good answer. I don't care how much you score. I don't care. If you're scoring 30, 70, doesn't matter. Have you completed the paper? Have you demonstrated all the professional skills? That's it. Now you can solve one mock paper, 2 mock papers, 5 mock papers. If you keep this approach, the approach that I am sharing with you right now, then you can solve multiple mock papers. If you're solving mock papers to check how much marks can I score, what could be my score? No, that's a disaster. It will impact you psychologically just before the exams. Okay, I hope I'm clear, Ruchi, because this is something against the trend. This is something against, every other trainer will tell you, okay, we conduct 3 mock papers, 5 mock papers. Why?
Yeah.
And does it reflect in the results, ACCA results? I don't think so. The results in fact, the results are worsening every year. Right? If you look at the audit results, the AA, AAA, APM results, they're not improving.
Yeah.
Students are solving 10 mock papers. So what? The results are not improving. That means to improve your results, you need to do something else. Okay. Your approach has to be a little different. So focus on understanding the concepts. Focus on completing the paper. Don't be obsessed with how many marks I can score. Okay? With that approach, you are just it's a very dangerous domain. It can affect you psychologically. It can inflate your confidence. It can make you overconfident, or it can make you depressed as well. Yeah, I scored only 30. I know students just 2 days before exams, they appear a mock paper, they get 30 marks, and they say, "Oh my God, what is this?" Okay, so with that level of confidence, if you're approaching AFM paper, more likely than not, it will be a disaster.
Exactly. Even I still remember you gave us one mock exam and you didn't mention the, marks, and you be like, these things needs to be improved.
I offered my comments. Yes.
Yeah. You only gave us feedback that these things needs to be improved, and that's it. So that was very insightful.
It all depends on the understanding and the maturity of the student as well. If you are clear, okay, even if I tell you the marks, if you are clear that, okay, these marks are not the final thing. In fact, these marks don't tell you anything, whether you will pass, whether you will fail. It's absolutely useless. What is important is, did you attempt it well? Did you complete the paper? That's the thing I see. Did you use the right words? Did you demonstrate professional skills? Was your communication to the point? These are the things I offer my comments on. I will not give you comments on this is right, this is wrong. Why? Because anyways, the question paper in the main exams would be different. Okay. So marking is anyways not of much importance. This is my personal opinion. Maybe some of you might not agree, but based on my experience, I need to share what I really feel.
That's great. Great tip, I believe. Okay, now let's move on to the final question and end our podcast here. So this is for particularly for students who will be appearing for the second time and they failed at 48 or 49. I can literally imagine seeing 48, 49 in, morning, especially at 5 a.m. is so disheartening. But what would be your tips that how should you approach for the second time? Because you have already studied the syllabus for the first time. Now sitting for the second time needs a different approach, maybe according to my thing.
Yeah.
So what according to you is, the tips that you need to share?
I think the first thing you should do is just sit down very calmly, and when the nerves settle down, and because as you said, it's very shocking, it's depressing. 48, 49 is shocking, right? And it's painful. So once you cross that initial yeah, then I think you should really get back your logic. You should sit down and try to assess yourself first with yourself as to what are the things that might have gone wrong. And let me tell you, Ruchi, most of the times it is, I found only two reasons for behind this 45, 49 thing. Only two reasons. One, that student has not completed the paper. That's the number one reason. Okay. Paper complete nahi hua. They have solved up to 80 marks, 75 marks, then high probability of 45, 49. And second, which is equally possible, is they have not addressed the requirement, which means they have been asked to critically evaluate something, but they have written long and long discourses on the concept. बड़े concepts लिख के आए, which are, the concepts are right, by the way. The concepts are absolutely right, but they have not critically evaluated it. They have not offered any criticism. And that is the reason why students feel, okay, I have written everything correctly, but still I'm failing. So 48, 49 marks actually point out to a simple fact that number one, you have not completed, either you have not completed the paper or you have not addressed the requirement correctly. These are the only two possible reasons, in my view, which are common. Of course, there could be other reasons as well, but these are the most common ones that I have noticed after interacting with students. Based on my interactions, based on what they report me back, based on that, I can come up with these two reasons. So first, you have to sit down yourself and try to address these issues. Try to think about what could be the possible reason, and after that, you need to get in touch with your trainer, with your tutor as soon as possible. Okay. And because nobody knows you as well as your tutor, right? Provided you have done your classes regularly and you're in interaction with your tutor, you have done your assignments time to time, then your tutor gets to know where you actually stand. Okay. And then based on that, he or she can offer you some feedback that you need to act upon. So it's not important just to know things. It's important to take actions on them. Okay. Like if I give a feedback that if you have not completed the paper, then I would recommend going for more mock papers. Then don't sit with your study text. Okay. No point, because your concepts are clear. What you need to do is practicing more mock exams so that you are able to do your paper within the set time. Okay. Second, if you are not reading the requirements properly, if you have not understood the difference between discussion, explanation, critical evaluation, identify, if you're not able to clearly understand these verbs, then again, that is one thing that you need to really work on. Okay. And third thing that could be a possible reason is you have not demonstrated the professional skills. That could also be the reason. And this could be the major reason going forward why students might fail in future, because these 20 marks would be very critical. And if you don't demonstrate them, if you don't know that you are supposed to demonstrate them, then again, that could be the reason behind this 48, 49, the borderline stuff. So yeah, you need to work on these things and keep your confidence at optimum level. I will not say keep your confidence high or low. I will say optimize your confidence. Your confidence should be backed up with logic and facts. If you're not preparing at all and you're just pass ho jaunga, no, that won't happen. And if you're unnecessarily pessimistic, if you're saying, oh my God, how will I do this? Oh my, I had failed last time. पिछले बार fail हुआ था. Okay, this can be, now I'm very afraid. So fear can be your big enemy as well. I've seen anxiety and fear to be a big enemy of students because they're not able to concentrate during their main exams. So yeah, you need to also work on your fear levels.
Exactly. That's so true. So thank you so much. Here we have come to an end of our podcast, my first podcast. So it was a huge success just because of you. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you in future for more subjects, just not AFM. And once again, thank you. I can just say that as a
Thank you so much, Ruchi. Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me. I was not aware that this is your first podcast.
Yeah.
But it's a privilege now. I think this is a privilege. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. And yeah, great. And I should again congratulate you for this initiative because this is something I believe is going to help many people, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Okay? Yeah,
and
so all the best.
You
all the
tend
best.
to search on YouTube a lot because as a student, you need something, to validate your points. So you need to search things and you need to listen to a tutor or mentor that I am thinking right. That's, in a right direction. So that's the only purpose of these podcasts. And okay, we'll end here. Thank you so much.